Williams has got most of Francis, and she'll go to the line for the and one as well. Fouls for Australia too. Williams makes them pay.
We're about to break down why Gabby Williams, one of the best basketball players in the world, just said no to the WNBA. We'll look at the money, the drama with the Chicago Sky, and why playing overseas is becoming more attractive for top players. By the end, you'll understand why this decision is shaking up women's basketball. Since it's always about the Benjamins in professional sports, let's talk money. Not quite so quickly though. However, we cannot deny that Gabby Williams' decision to leave the WNBA was largely motivated by cold, hard cash. How much are we talking here? Maybe on your mind. Prepare yourself for some stunning performances. The salary cap for players in the WNBA is currently set at a pitiful 60 million folks. That applies to the entire league. When Gabby compares that to her earnings from playing abroad, her choice begins to make a great deal of sense. Hold on though, because things are going to get really interesting. The WNBA is about to get a huge payday. We are discussing a new TV contract that is anticipated to raise the salary cap to an incredible 260 million. That is currently more than 4 times what it was. I know what you're thinking. Excellent. I take it that the issue has been resolved. Not quite so quickly though. The average WNBA salary is only anticipated to rise to about $250,000 annually despite this significant increase. Although to you and me, $250,000 might seem like a lot for a professional athlete such as Gabby Williams, when compared to what she can make abroad, it's pennies on the dollar. Recall that this is an Olympic star with whom we are dealing, a competitor in a gold medal game who can score 19 points and pull down 7 rebounds. In international leagues, athletes of Gabby's caliber have been known to earn up to $1 million. Is it unreasonable for her to have opted for the higher salary? This is where things get really interesting though. Is Gabby's no thanks to the WNBA solely motivated by money? Or is there another issue at hand? Consider it. Wouldn't the prospect of that new TV contract be sufficient to entice her back if it was only about the money? This tale must have more to it. Might it have to do with deference, it's time to play, or is there perhaps some drama going on behind the scenes that we are unaware of? How about Angel Reese too? Why does she find Gabby's decision so upsetting? Is there a link that we are overlooking? These are some of the hot button issues that are currently circulating through the basketball community. In addition to having an impact on Gabby's career, her choice has drawn attention to some significant problems within the WNBA. Is this a one-off thing, or are we going to see more players follow in Gabby's footsteps? Maybe on your mind right now. It's a legitimate query, and one that WNBA executives are undoubtedly thinking about late at night. In actuality, Gabby is not the first player to pass on the WNBA in favor of foreign leagues. Do you recall Brittany Griner? She's another celebrity who's earned a lot of money performing abroad, and she most likely won't be the last given the status of WNBA salaries right now. Although we've been discussing money, there's another aspect of this story that has everyone talking. Do you recall Angel Reese, the rising star from LSU who has been a major player in college basketball? She's not just observing all of this drama from the sidelines though. The prospect of competing in the WNBA with Gabby Williams excited Angel. Think about that team on the court. Every game night would have been like watching fireworks. In an attempt to get Gabby to join her in the major leagues, Angel was essentially laying out the red carpet. Here's where things get interesting though. Gabby's answer, it was, shall we say, unenthusiastic. It was very cold in fact. Angel's recruitment attempt was effectively terminated by her faster than a buzzer-beating block. You may be asking yourself, what's the deal? Why would Gabby decline the opportunity to play with one of the most promising young basketball players? That's where the interesting part starts. Do you recall Angel's quote? She continued, "They did me dirty, girl, but I'm still your biggest fan." That's not a haphazard remark. This offers an inside look at the true workings of the Chicago Sky. You see, Gabby's rejection involves more than just turning Angel down. Saying no to Chicago Sky as a whole is the goal, and you begin to understand why when you look a little closer. There have been some recent changes to the Chicago Sky, new direction, new leadership, all that jazz. You would think that would be advantageous, wouldn't you? A chance to start over and create something novel and exciting. However, it appears that these adjustments come too little, too late for players like Gabby. Money is not the only factor. Respect is at issue. The key is to feel appreciated. It all comes down to being a part of a company that views you as the superstar that you are. And based on Gabby's response, it appears that the Chicago Sky made a major mistake in that area. Consider it, here we are discussing an Olympian, a player with the ability to rule the global scene. What message does a team send to the rest of their roster if they can't even make a player like that feel valued? The entire affair draws attention to a more serious problem within the WNBA. It's not all about the money. It all comes down to fostering an environment where players are supported, respected, and feel valued. And it appears that some teams are struggling at the moment. How many other players must be experiencing the same emotions as Gabby? You have to wonder, how many athletes are asking themselves, is this really the best place for me to be, as they observe their WNBA team? And here's something else to think about. It's not just that they lose out on opportunities to use their skills on the court when athletes like Gabby decide to play abroad rather than in the WNBA. It's about losing players who can serve as role models for the upcoming generation of basketball players and losing their star power. After discussing the finances and delving into the Chicago Sky drama, something is still lacking. Why do athletes like Gabby Williams decide to play abroad rather than in the WNBA? Is there more to the story, or is it really just about the bigger paycheck? Let's examine the offerings of these foreign leagues in more detail to see why our best players are packing their bags and moving across the globe. Because, believe me, there's more to it than the extra zeros on their bank accounts. Let's start by discussing respect. You're aware of the feeling you get when someone truly values what you've done, right? That's precisely what a lot of players are discovering abroad, though. These leagues are showing players more than just financial support. They are also extending a red carpet. People, let's talk about star treatment, the kind of acknowledgement that elevates you above the status of player to that of an important member of the team. Furthermore, it goes beyond feeling good. Players are getting more chances to excel on the court thanks to these leagues. More playing time gives them more opportunities to hone their abilities and demonstrate their capabilities. It's an opportunity for a player like Gabby Williams, who has demonstrated her abilities on the Olympic stage, to step up her game. This is where things get really interesting, though. It takes more than just basketball to play abroad. It's about developing oneself. Imagine relocating to a different nation, getting to know a new language, and experiencing a new culture. These athletes are receiving a full life education in addition to their basketball career. It's similar to getting paid to play your favorite game and travel the world. It's what who wouldn't want? You may be asking yourself, but the WNBA is the best league in the world? That ought to be sufficient to keep players here, right? You would also be correct regarding the caliber of play. When it comes to talent, the WNBA is excellent. Here's the thing though, playing against the best isn't the only thing that matters to many players. It's about earning a decent living, growing personally, and feeling appreciated. And this is the WNBA's area of difficulty. The WNBA is up against competition from overseas leagues that are drawing elite players with higher salaries, more playing time, and unique experiences. They are making an effort to retain their stars, but it's difficult to sell them given their limited resources and a salary cap that is still far less than what these players can make elsewhere. Consider it, if Gabby Williams were a player and he had to choose between playing in a league where he might spend half of his time on the bench and going overseas to play major minutes and be treated like a superstar, which would he choose? The shocking thing is that it goes beyond any one player. The WNBA suffers every time a star player like Gabby decides to play abroad rather than here. It's losing its star power, its ability to inspire young players, and its ability to attract attention and raise awareness of women's basketball in the United States. The WNBA is currently dealing with some significant obstacles. We've already discussed the financial aspect. The salary cap is a major concern, but money isn't the only consideration. Players are hesitant to commit to the league because of organizational problems. Do you recall how Gabby essentially ignored the Chicago Sky? It's not just one player being choosy like that. It's an indication that some teams aren't fostering an atmosphere where top talent aspires to work. Not to be overlooked are those foreign leagues. They're not merely providing increased pay. Players are getting more playing time, star treatment, and travel opportunities. With that, how can the WNBA compete? This is where the interesting part comes in. A ray of hope appears just when it seems as though the WNBA may be in danger, and it takes the shape of Caitlin Clark, a certain college sensation, and the Indiana Fever. I assume you are familiar with Caitlin Clark, the star player from Iowa who has been dazzling the college basketball world. She is anticipated to be the Indiana Fever's first-round draft choice. Furthermore, this might completely alter the WNBA. Why? For Caitlin Clark isn't your average player. Her talent comes only once in a generation. The kind of player who can sell out arenas and reignite public interest in women's basketball. What about the Fever in Indiana? They are trying to make a name for themselves as the team that fans want to watch. Consider it. Which place would you prefer to go if you were a free agent? Is this a team that's still searching for its identity, or is it centered around one of the most intriguing young players in the league? The thought of participating in the WNBA doesn't seem all that horrible now, does it? The key question, though, is whether a team like the Indiana Fever, led by Caitlin Clark, could draw players like Gabby Williams back to the WNBA. It's not going to be simple, but it is possible. You see, the WNBA can't rely solely on a handful of standout players to pull it off. The monetary and cultural problems that are turning players away must be addressed. Financially speaking, that new TV deal we discussed earlier, that's the beginning. However, the league must discover methods to boost earnings and raise those salaries even further. It must be financially feasible for elite players to select the WNBA over leagues abroad. However, money is not the only factor. Recall that we previously discussed the respect and opportunities that players are finding abroad. That kind of atmosphere needs to be fostered here at home by the WNBA. They must create an environment where all players, not just the stars, feel appreciated. Another thing to consider is that the WNBA has to do a better job of marketing itself. They boast some of the world's best basketball players, but how well known are they? They must work harder to market their stars, develop rivalries, and develop captivating plots that captivate viewers.